the world, individuals, groups, and governments are trying to switch from electricity produced from burning fossil fuels to cleaner wind and solar power. But some people have worried that there aren't enough rare earth minerals on the planet to make the green energy switch. But a new study published last week finds that the planet has enough of the 17 different types of materials needed, but will have to ramp up mining. Scientists say that it would add a bit to pollution, but this would be offset by savings in getting rid of dirty power plants. The study was published in the scientific journal Joule. Well, with us now to discuss the study is Dr. Seaver Wang, co-director of the Climate and Energy team at the Breakthrough Institute. He's also one of the authors of the report. Dr. Wang, welcome to Forum Daily.
Thank you for having me.
So we've been hearing a lot about rare earth minerals recently, but what exactly are they and how do they help in producing clean energy, Dr. Wang?
Rare earth elements are very useful for their magnetic properties. They're used in wind turbine motors and in electric vehicle motors. They help allow for bigger wind turbines and electric vehicles and turbines that need less maintenance and are more efficient. They're also used in a lot of other important technologies like radar equipment, medical devices, drones, aerospace, and defense.
Sounds like some very important minerals there, Dr. Wang. Now, this study notes that while there are enough minerals, more mining will need to be done. So what are the impacts that this could have on the environment overall?
Yes, our study projected that extraction of rare earth elements might need to increase by 3 to 4 times over the course of the next few decades in order to support the amount of demand that society would need, even just for wind turbines alone. Now, mining does disrupt the land. You have to excavate. It can pollute the water. It can cause local air pollution from diesel particulates and from dust. If you don't manage the earth that's dug out of the mine properly, it can cause landslides. However, there are technical means to reduce these impacts and control them, and there are regulatory standards to govern them. Also, once a mine is fully mined, you can put the earth back in and conduct remediation to slowly, over time, restore the site to more of its former ecosystem functions.
So what does a successful mining operation that takes into consideration all these stipulations, what would that look like in Canada?
So Canada does already have sort of world-leading industry standards when it comes to mining, but there's always room for improvement. As technology improves, regulations should become more stringent to sort of ensure that mines are always working at the cutting edge and reducing impacts as much as possible. I also would draw attention to social risks. I think good social frameworks are very important. It's always very important for mine projects to have community input and consent, and for policymakers to require that as part of a mine permitting process. It's important for that mine projects provide good community social benefits, and that there's always sort of third-party inspection and regulation to ensure that they're abiding by good labor standards, good environmental standards, and that in general, these materials are needed, but we can get them the right way.
Lots of things to consider here. Now, for some further perspective, just how much of an impact would an increase in rare earth mineral mining have on the global energy sector, especially when it comes to this shift to cleaner energy?
That's a very good question. I think it's very important for the shift to clean energy, because if there's a bottleneck in these essential minerals that go into clean energy technologies, it could end up making these alternative energy sources and electric vehicles more expensive. However, if we manage the increase in production of these important materials well, then it could actually make these technologies cheaper, faster, and accelerate adoption.
All right, Dr. Wang. Now, something we noticed is that the study does not look into minerals like lithium that are used for batteries or cars. Why was that?
Yes, so battery technologies are changing very quickly. The prevailing chemistries are changing rapidly. And so the amount of materials that you need to put into a battery is changing over time. Generally, it's improving over time. And this is a field that is moving so fast that we were uncomfortable about making assumptions with today's technologies to predict future needs a decade or 2 decades or 3 decades from now. So we ended up excluding batteries from that portion of the study. It's an important question, but one we'll have to keep an eye on as the technology evolves.
All right, Dr. Wang, a quick 30 seconds left here, but as one of the authors of this study, what would you say would be a main takeaway for policymakers and individuals?
Yeah, I think a very important thing from this study is that it's clear that we will need to expand production, but it's also clear that we will need to responsibly balance this with environmental and social goals. So finding good sort of pragmatic policies that on the one hand allow us to ramp up at the rate at which we can produce these goods, which will ultimately be better for the environment in terms of fighting climate change, while also ensuring that we don't harm communities that are nearby.